guys, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm doing another Top 5 Wednesday, which were created by Lainey at Ginger Reads Lainey, and as always, the links are in the description. This week's topic is our top 5 books that deal with hard topics. So, something that's difficult, like mental illness, or cancer, or whatever. So these are my top 5 books. The first one I picked was Wonder, R J Palacio? So bad with names, sorry. This one deals with a young boy who was born with like a deformity, and he's been in and out of hospitals his whole life, and he's, I think, starting 5th grade. Maybe I'm getting mixed up with other books, but he's finally gets to start school with all these other kids. And this book is about Augie just going to school for the first time and what that's like and how everybody treats him differently because he has this deformity, and about how his parents are like super anxious because he's been sick all this time and like are worried about how he's going to deal with it emotionally and how the other kids are going to react to him. And this book is funny and positive and made me cry like crazy, and I also only read it in like one sitting. Like, totally loved this book. So yeah, I don't know, just with how we view other people. And yeah, I'm sure I didn't describe this properly, but it's amazing. The next book I have is George by Gino, and this is about a trans child, George, who was born male but associates as being a girl, and about George's journey and dealing with what this means. George's parents are like, you're a boy, and everybody at school sees him as a boy. And this is the first time where he really has a friend who treats her like she's a girl, how she wants to be treated, and why it's so important for her that she is a girl, and that being a boy is icky and disgusting. And it deals with all of these like trans issues without putting sexuality into it, that it really is just about gender identity. And I also haven't read a lot of books about trans people, period, like even as like background characters, and I think that that's kind of not okay. And part of that is my own like personal thing for not going out and seeking these books, but on the other hand, it should also just be there. Like, it exists in the real world, so why doesn't it exist in books? So I like George's way of just simplifying this issue down. So that's a really hard issue, I think. But this one does a good job of it. White balance completely off. The next book I have is the book that I am just finishing. Read everything but the afterword. And it's How to Be a Woman by Moran. And it is about feminism and about being a woman and what they don't tell you. Stuff like what it's like to get your first period and how job discrimination works and just how like we're making progress. Like, Caitlin Moran works in the music industry as like a journalist, like a music journalist, and how we've progressed from the 80s to the early 90s when there weren't a lot of powerful female singers, and now that just seems to be more predominant. And she talks about things like abortion and the decision to have children or not to have children, and to be a stay-at-home parent or to go work, or even just what jobs we seek out. She talks about like pornography and how that industry affects women, and depicts us, and how it can be empowering, but it can also like not be. Like, it sets unrealistic expectations, and she deals with all of this in a really humorous manner. So a lot of smaller but also just hard topics. So being a woman is hard, guys, okay? The next book I have is The Heartbreakers by Ali Novak. It is mostly a love story about Stella, who falls in love with the lead singer of a boy band that she doesn't like, and it's really cute and adorable. But Stella is part of a set of triplets, and her sister Kara has cancer, and this really deals with how that impacts Stella, because it's Stella's story. Like, how she puts her life, how Stella puts her life on hold for her sister and is afraid to go away to college because something might happen. She might get worse. She's even afraid to spend this like summer following the band around because what if something happens to Kara? Um, and and I think it does explore what it's like to have somebody in the family who is sick like that, and how that impacts the other people around them. So it's not just a typical cancer story, but it still does deal with how cancer affects people. And Kara's also really optimistic still, which is cool take on this. Like, she's still like, she has her days where she's down, but she's also kind of excited to be a girl and fangirl over her favorite bands and everything. So this book is totes adorable, guys. Totes adorable. So the last book on my list is something that personally to me deals with a topic that in my own life has been hard. And so that book is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. And it's mostly a book about the differences in culture between the northern industrial cities in England versus the southern country cities, and how like the country was changing at the time and how life is different in the cities versus the country, and about Margaret and Mr. Thornton's relationship and how their different backgrounds change things. So it's a really cool romance story and great for that sociological aspect. Maybe that's not the right word, but the part about this that really hit home for me though was Margaret's parents died during this book, especially Margaret dealing with her mom's death, because her mom got really, really sick when they moved to the north and really depressed, and the toll that that takes on Margaret. And when her mom does die, not only is she dealing with her parent just died, but her father completely falls apart, and Margaret has to make the decisions for like the funeral and where they're going to bury her, and greeting people as they come to visit and telling people who aren't there. And it's really hard on her, and making the decision whether or not to call her brother when her mom gets super sick. So because of what was happening in my life at the time with my own mom being super sick and my mom dying, literally when I was in the middle of this book, that dealt with something for me that was really hard. It was cool to see a character also going through that at the same time, in a way that this book wouldn't have impacted me the same way at any other point in my life. So for me, this is like the book that deals with the hardest topic. Maybe not for everybody, but for me. Yeah, and I liked the way that it kind of deals with how everybody grieves differently. And even the way Margaret mourns her mother's death in the middle of the book versus her dad's death towards the end. Even though they're both her parents, the relationship is not the same, and her situation changes so much. But the way she deals with that grief also changes, so that's cool. I like to sing that bit. And how important it is to have people around you who understand that maybe you're not going to grieve the same way. And that, particularly having her brother there, was important for her. Yeah. I post the link to the reviews I've done for these books that I have. If you guys want to check them out, including this one. Because I knew I probably explained this better when I reviewed the whole book. Anyway. Yeah. There were my top 5. There were my top 5 books that deal with very difficult, hard topics. So let me know what books come to mind for you. Did you have different reactions to these books? Yeah. Such a happy book topic. Peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.